They knew exactly what they were doing. That's the part your mind still fights. Because if they knew, then every apology was calculated. Every tear was strategic. Every moment they acted confused was part of keeping you trapped. And deep down, you already know that. You just didn't want to believe someone who claimed to love you could study your pain that carefully. At first, it didn't feel abusive. It felt intense. Magnetic. Almost addictive. They paid attention to everything. Your wounds. Your fears. The parts of you no one else noticed. And for a while, it felt good to be seen like that. But what you didn't realize was, they weren't learning you to love you. They were learning you so they could control you later. That's why the beginning felt so perfect. They mirrored you. Matched your energy. Said the exact things you needed to hear. Not because it was real. Because attachment is easier to create when someone feels understood. And once you were emotionally attached, everything changed. The warmth became distance. The reassurance became confusion. The affection became unpredictable. One day they pulled you close. The next day they acted cold. Detached. Almost cruel. And every time it happened, you blamed yourself first. Maybe I asked for too much. Maybe I was too emotional. Maybe I ruined it. That's how the conditioning works. They slowly trained you to question your own reality. Not all at once. Little by little. A dismissive comment. A twisted argument. A fake apology. A look that made you feel guilty for reacting to the pain they caused. Until eventually, you stopped trusting yourself. And started trusting their version of you instead. The too sensitive version. The crazy version. The difficult version. Because if they could convince you that you were the problem, they never had to face what they were doing. And they knew that. That's why the pattern repeated. Not because they didn't understand your pain. Because your pain was useful to them. Confused people stay longer. Emotionally starving people tolerate more. People desperate for clarity become easier to control. So they kept you emotionally off balance. Just enough love to keep you hopeful. Just enough pain to keep you insecure. That wasn't love. Love does not leave you terrified of saying the wrong thing. Love does not make you rehearse conversations in your head before speaking. Love does not punish you for having emotions. What they gave you was emotional dependency. A cycle. Reward. Withdrawal. Confusion. Relief. Over and over again. And the worst part is, you probably defended them while they were destroying you. You explained their behavior. Made excuses for them. Ignored your own intuition because you wanted the connection to be real so badly. But your body knew. That anxiety you carried around them? That constant overthinking? That emotional exhaustion? That wasn't love. That was survival. You were surviving someone who needed power more than intimacy. Someone who enjoyed being emotionally chased. Someone who felt stronger every time you abandoned yourself to keep the peace. And still, you stayed longer than you should have. Not because you were weak. Because they built the relationship around confusion. Around hope. Around emotional highs and lows that kept your nervous system addicted to the possibility of getting the good version of them back. But that version was never stable. Because it was never fully real. That's the truth that changes everything. They didn't accidentally hurt you. They watched your reactions. They noticed your breaking points. They saw the damage. And instead of stopping, they adjusted the manipulation to keep you attached. That's why closure never came from them. People who benefit from your confusion will never give you clarity. But once you finally see the pattern, really see it, something shifts inside you. You stop romanticizing the beginning. You stop blaming yourself for the ending. And you finally understand that the person you were fighting to keep was the same person teaching you to disappear.